I'm Isyander.
And I'm Koda.
And today we're going to be running over what every Primarch elected to do right after the heresy.
Mostly retreat, I assume.
No, not really.
No?
Actually, the opposite, yeah. Surprising nobody, the Age of Rebirth won, and that's the time period right after the heresy.
Yeah.
So to get you up to speed, Horus, super dead. Sanguinius, super duper dead. The Emperor, kind of. It's complicated. He's functionally dead, let's say. He's functionally dead, and everything is in disarray. It's objectively a terrible time, and the only reason it's called the Age of Rebirth is because this is when the modern Imperium was born. Before this, there was hope and ambition, and things were probably going to get better at some point. After this, no. It is grim, it is dark, and people are just being used almost like the way you spend dollar bills. It's rough. It's terrible.
This is kind of like if the phoenix emerged from the ashes, still charred.
Yeah. I would say it's that kind of a situation, exactly.
Like it was fried. It was deep fried, ready, rotisserie even. You could eat that thing right then and there.
Yeah, right here is when the Emperor's little dream has died, officially. And kinda, don't tell the Inquisition I said this, kinda when Horus won. If he didn't, at least Chaos did.
I mean,
at minimum, Chaos won this situation. Because you cannot tell me the Imperium the Emperor wanted is what we're currently working through. Not even close.
It's pretty terrible.
It's not as bad as if Horus would have won. But like Chaos kind of took the dub on that one. When the Emperor's own sons wake up and their first thought is, put me out of my misery, and their second thought is, fine, hand me a cigarette about this, it's bad. It sucks.
It's kind of like one of those situations where it's like a dub by like extenuating.
I don't know if that's extenuating circumstances. It's just a win.
I mean, yeah.
This is just a win.
I was going to use. I think it's the Battle of Breeds Hill in the American Revolutionary War, where technically the American forces retreated, but they killed so many Brits that it didn't matter.
No, this one's just a Chaos win. I hate to admit it. This is just a win. And then you look at the stuff happening today with the whole line thing.
I was thinking more along the lines of they didn't completely annihilate the Empire, but they got the Emperor, and things just started falling apart from there.
And humans have a lot of impact on the warp, so you don't want them all gone anyway. So, like, honestly, it would have been worse because if Horus won, then everyone would have been dead in like a century or so.
Yeah.
Or that's what one person's vision said. That we don't know if that's what would have actually happened. That's one person's pretty good guess at it.
Which person, though?
Long story. We're not
is this a verified
proper nouns? We don't need.
Okay.
So how I'm going to put this.
It's not the Emperor or Malcador.
Yes, okay. Exactly. So, take it with a grain of salt. But what we do know is right now there's plenty of humans suffering all the time and feeding every Chaos God, and they don't even know they're there. It's a great situation for them. So those are the basic cliff notes, and today we're mostly going to focus over how each and every Primarch took this blow to the chin. I'm not even going to lie. Or the several blows to the chin that would come directly after. Because when the Emperor of Mankind was winning, he was winning really hard. Like, have you ever seen like I love watching kids sports because it's always polarizing. Mm-hmm. It's never a close game whenever kids are playing soccer. No, it's like 30-0.
Yeah.
It's brutal. And at some point you got to think, stop scoring for their sake. You know what I mean?
I remember our high school did not the best football team. Yet I was in the pep band, so I was forced to be at all of the games.
Rough.
And I would remember seeing scores of like 0-47.
Yeah. See,
I think the worst one was like a 0-70.
Yeah, see, in pro games, you don't see that because everyone's pretty decent at the sport. It's rare to see blowouts like that. But when amateurs are playing, scoreboards get wacky. Mm-hmm. When the Emperor was playing, that scoreboard got wacky.
It was 70-0.
Against everyone. Mm-hmm. Nobody was as up as he was during that time period. It was bad. So, obviously, the moment the Emperor's gone, it's get back. The get back is real. So many things come out of the woodwork just to spite the humanity as a whole. It's bad.
Real question, were the Eldar laughing when this happened? It's like, nya, we told you so.
They have other problems to deal with. You know, it's like
they were more focused on not getting their souls snatched than.
You have to remember, they are so arrogant.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me
the most arrogant people are going to be hitting the "I told you so."
We have a zoo cannoneers. Would you care if the monkey exhibit decided to go through a heresy and slaughter half their kind? It would certainly make you raise your eyebrow.
Yeah.
Would you care, though?
I mean, a little bit.
Kind of no. You just read and go, that's strange.
Why did half the monkeys kill half the other monkeys?
But it's not pushing you.
What's going on here?
You to go, heh. Because for you to go, heh, you got to at least respect them a little bit.
Yeah.
Eldar have, like, no respect for us. Okay, some Eldar have, like, no respect for us. They've been humbled a lot. But, yeah. So everything's coming out of the woodwork. There's going to be plenty of blows to the chin. And all of the Primarchs did something fun and unique to cope. Also, I'm going to keep it a buck with you. Everyone loves Primarch videos. Everyone loves Primarch videos. And if you don't, the omnissiah does. So I am beholden to its whim. I am simple. I am straightforward. I won't lie to you. Y'all don't lie to me. I don't lie to you. You know why we're here. You know why we're... Even Pancreas knows why we're here. I think that's my favorite one. I saw a video of his and he opened with, "Everyone loves Primarch slop." Which... Not slop. Not slop. This is going to be compelling. But before we get into
this is what you get instead of a raid sponsorship.
But before we get into it, if you'd like to know what really happened during the Age of Strife, because we did do a whole episode on that, you can head on over to patreon.com/Isyander and Koda. From there, you can get a bonus episode every single week, live streams once a month, maybe more than that. We'll see. Once a month.
Once a month?
Yes. Are you going to make fun of Mike Tyson now?
No, he's not doing too hot, if I remember correctly.
Oh, we're not going to get into that. Access to the Discord full of just awesome people. Every single person there is great, as well as a bunch of other perks, all while we cruise directly to an almost custodies amount of people there, which always shocks me until I do a little bit of research and see there are some people with whole legions, like actual Space Marine Legion numbers worth of people, and that just makes me go, maybe we should be doing true crime.
True crime, but in the universe of 40k, and there's
nothing
nothing but Conrad Curze.
There's honestly, Curze alone could give 100 true crime episodes that almost nobody could watch. Or at least they wouldn't get monetized, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I was going to say, immediately yellow check mark.
His things on Nostromo, oh man. His run? Jeez.
Bad.
Crime rate did drop.
If you reduce crimes by doing crimes, have you reduced the crimes?
Did you speed? Have you heard of a potato peeler? Guess what? I'm never speeding again. It's so quick. But no, it's going to be cars before it's true crime at any given point. But yeah, if you'd like all those perks as well as to help us keep all of these lights on, you can head on over to patreon.com/Isyander and Koda. For those of you already there, thank you very much. For those of you signing up as I speak to get all those awesome perks delivered to a screen near you, thank you as well. Now let's start, as pretty much all of us did, with a Johnson. Lionel, to be specific. He... Not good. Not doing too hot at all.
This is payback, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I have to at some point. Listen, this is going to be a trope, so I'm going to skip this for every other loyalist. I want you to insert this before every single loyalist. They're in shock. You have to understand the run the Emperor was on.
This is going to be our legal boilerplate for the rest of the loyalists. Dad died, not doing well.
This is something that's really rarely covered whenever anyone talks about this, frankly. To behold the Emperor in his prime, you kind of didn't think Horus was going to win. It was shocking he got as far as he did. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if the general consensus was the Emperor's teleported there with Sanguinius and Custodians. Oh, it's a wrap. Where's the champagne? Guardsmen, where's the champagne? We're done.
Down.
We are done.
Can we even do the sword thing with it, please?
Oh, of course we will. Once Karn's done stacking us that high, we can certainly do the sword thing. No, the Emperor could not lose up until that point. Seriously. There's so many pieces of art. You could pick any single one. The one where he's atop of the pyramid of steps with all that light, beaming off of him.
There's no way he can lose.
You have the other, the piece of art of him in the Crusade with the flaming sword, the hair.
You mean several of them?
There's the one. There's the one that's iconic.
Where he's leading an army to
yeah.
probable victory.
That man was Himothy at that time period. So for a lot of his sons,
his pronouns were he and him because he is him.
All of his sons on the loyalist side were just jarred. They were jarred that this could have even happened, especially when you could, really think about this from the loyalists' perspective. Not only is the Emperor gonna go 1v1 Horus with Sanguinius and Custodians, but Earth has been left to Dorn to defend.
This is a dub.
With Jagathai Khan running around on that.
This is a dub.
That's a win. That's a win.
There's no way we lose this.
There's no way we lose this. So a lot of the Primarchs were truly in shock. I mean, don't get me wrong, Horus is dusty EP. We expected that. We expected to see a Horus-shaped chalk outline by the end of all of this. The Emperor being mortally wounded, that's a twist. That was a twist, and pretty much none of them were expecting it fully. Even though the Lion is a little paranoid, I won't lie, it still jarred him. Either way, he has to go back home because I need my full legion. And everything's kind of falling apart right now. And so he goes home and is shot at.
Oh, yeah, I remember this event from his video.
Mm-hmm. He goes home and he's shot at. And can you guess how happy he was about that?
Very.
He's so angry. He's so angry about this. And he left this world in good hands. Little did he know, a lot of them just turned traitor. And so the Lion, being in his calm, rational era, bombarded his own home planet.
Cool.
He bombarded his own home planet. And the funniest thing is some of the people on there didn't know they shot first. So they just saw the Lion pull up and start blasting.
They felt betrayed.
Oh, yeah.
And you wonder why they're paranoid nowadays.
Oh, yeah, pretty
You wonder
much.
why they went off the deep end a little bit.
And so this is all happening. The planet's just going through it. And a lot of them have fallen to chaos, all banding together under Luther, the Lion's right-hand man. Very cool guy. Technically, geriatric space marine? Technically? Geriatric by space marine standards. You have to understand, if you're under 10, you're not fit to be a space marine anymore. They recruit very young, and honestly, it makes a lot of sense. The amount of things they do to a space marine to make him a space marine, you need stem cells for that. I'm just going to be honest. You need to have, that 10-year-old ability to run into a wall and just get back up.
Get back up, yeah.
So long as nobody freaks out around you. Yeah, you need that
to
ability.
be a space marine, you need to have that, and plus the grind set of a man in his mid-30s.
They will beat the grind set into you. Don't worry about that.
Okay,
or frankly, your death world will. I'm gonna be honest. There's a reason they recruit from them. You have to have a grind.
You get the survival training done over with. They had to have it by this time, or they were dead.
Yeah. It's the equivalent of the whole. What is it? Some of the best doing groups in the U.S. are immigrants from really, 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 really rough countries. Why is that? Because to exit there took a lot. So you better be certain I'm going to be a dentist after this. And lo and behold, you have a lot of dentists. It's just how it is. It's the same thing, survivorship bias. But they take it a lot further than anyone ever has. Because, there's some rough countries out there. The death worlds are different. Death worlds are very different.
Death worlds are like all of the rough countries in the world stacked together and then multiplied by 10 at the very least.
And some of them are kept this way on purpose, or at least they don't condemn them like they should. They don't put a board and some tape and go
They don't say you can't live here.
Yeah, they're just if you happen to, we'll recruit from there. We'll recruit from there every now and then.
This is an ethics violation and a half.
No, they don't have anything like that. So they all band together under Luther, who's not particularly old, but just barely too old to go through it. But he still went through the whole process and became a space marine. And when the Lion hears this, he's even angrier. This is my right-hand man. This is the guy who I trusted the most. And I'm going to be honest, he did kind of set himself up for this because he did randomly send a bunch of people back without really giving them any explanation. Nope, sorry, no crusading duties for you. Go back.
Head home.
Now, to be fair to the Lion, he was sending back the people he trusted the most to do the training to get the most competent people out to the front lines. Now, should he have told them that?
Well,
Is this something you should...
He was assuming that because he trusted them, they would have that same level of trust with him. That I'm sending you back for a reason.
He inherited some of the Emperor's parenting tactics, let's say. He's very
both helicopter and absentee at the same time.
Kind of, yeah, exactly. And so this
winning combination
this leads to a bunch of very competent people who feel slighted for no good reason, and chaos slips right in and
corrupts as they do.
So this is all happening. The planet's shaking apart. They're bombarding the hell out of it. And the line goes down to 1v1 Luther because, as all things in 40k must happen, it has to be two rather large guys with swords going at it. This is just the nature of the things.
For at least an hour.
I'll be fair. This is a Space Marine, and an old one at that, to a Primarch.
So 5 minutes.
You'd think. That Space Marine had all four people looking at him, though. He had Tzeentch, he had Slaanesh, he had a lot of friends.
So 30 minutes.
He won. Luther beat the Lion.
Oh, I forgot about... I'm remembering.
Yeah, he properly did win through having all of Chaos looking at him directly. And first of all, this is astounding. There's no way this would have happened in any other situation. Because the Lion's very calm. This is his thing. There's a reason you see him in every bit of art with a sword. Nowadays with a shield too. He's very competent with those things. For him to lose, that shows how powerful Luther was. However, corruption can only go so far. And when he sees, I just blasted Dad in the face using the most evil magic I think I've ever seen.
He starts to just wake up a little bit and go, I made a mistake.
Yeah, he throws the weapon down, he surrenders, and conveniently a warp storm consumes all of Caliban. Every single one. So the planet is now ripped in half, and the only thing that's left is this tiny chunk with their fortress monastery on it, and everything else is gone. So the Dark Angels do the reasonable thing of going into the redacted vaults and pulling out a couple of redacted, and they assemble the Rock, which would be their ship from now on. Yep, and that's how they got the Rock. At the time, we didn't know what happened. Turns out the Lion was asleep.
He was just sleeping beauty in bottom.
Yeah, exactly. And Luther's still alive.
Was he sleeping beauty at the top of the tower?
Well, he's just interred, and the only person who knows is the Lion and the chapter master. Yeah.
How does a Lion know, honestly?
Why does a Lion know? Because nothing is out of his... What?
Oh, well...
Why wouldn't he know?
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
I was going to say, he was asleep for all of this time. How did he learn that he was interred? He was asleep.
Because the head of the KGB just woke up again.
The people updated him.
If he doesn't know now, he will, certainly. Yeah. I promise you that. Plus, you got to remember, the Lion also, all the Primarchs exude this aura kind of a situation going on. The Lion had it in spades. He was very...
There was no problem for his forces to update him.
He felt regal to be around.
Yeah.
You know, like the way... He literally feels divinely right. He feels like he has the divine right to rule. It's a very disconcerting feeling in every book.
Or in this case, the divine right to be the head of the head chairman of the KGB.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, he was kind of knocked out off screen a little bit, but that's what he's been doing, and he's going to continue to sleep for the next 10,000 years. Next up is... After that is Fulgrim, who we kind of covered in his episode because he just came back. He just came back. He really mostly existed to shunt Guilliman away. It's great. He became a demon during the whole heresy. Giant snake demon, 4 arms, very competent at dueling. And Guilliman went to find him because a big part of the post-heresy shenanigans were get them back. Now,
get them back and either get them or kill them.
Now, this is the paper pusher against one of the best duelists there are. So it didn't go well.
No.
It did not go well at all. Fulgrim... Absolutely.
The pen is, in fact, not mightier than the sword.
Well, it's
when
mightier
it comes
than
to
the
hand
sword,
combat.
not 4 swords. See?
I see.
You should have brought 4 pens.
The math equation.
Yeah, exactly. So Guilliman was washed so brutally, it bored Fulgrim, and Fulgrim then spent the rest of his time going off into the warp. He got his own little planet named Calax, and he recreated his homeworld right there over and over and over, reenacting every single battle he ever fought, sometimes winning, sometimes losing, just to see what would happen.
Just to experiment, just to
see what happened. Sometimes he'd be going for the perfect victory, just trying to perfect combo his own childhood memories, which, like I said, they all have trauma.
He was sitting in his little warp zone, like a Guitar Hero streamer trying to FC some track.
Yeah. Yeah. Does that not track for Fulgrim?
No, it does.
See, the funny thing is, in the meantime, while all this is happening, a lot of cultists began to see his world as kind of like their mecca. So like they would all make this great pilgrimage, attempting to find the Dark Prince's favor, only to realize the dude's just playing Guitar Hero in his room and hasn't really seen the sun in ages. It's kind of sad when you think about it that way. Oh, he also has his own perfect clone in this little bit of meantime, but that was shelved. Never to be seen again.
I thought that was created by not him. Did he do that?
No. One of his sons did. Fabulous Bill with the whole Technicolor trench coat.
I see.
Yeah, he did that.
Well, it's not Technicolor. It's
human color. It's human color. So
yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of everything. A lot of the traders, well, you'll see as we go through. Perturabo. Oh, I love Perturabo. Oh, I love Perturabo.
Who doesn't?
After the Siege of Terra, he pieced out during the Siege of Terra because he realized that his... Not to say he was on the wrong side of history, because that's not why. Just nobody was listening, and everyone around him was a gibbering idiot. Very, very Perturabo reasons.
His heart simply was not in it anymore.
Yeah, and he recognized like what was going on, everything around him. So instead, he devoted himself to something he really cared about: stepping on Dorn's toes. So he went out and and built this massive fortress and sent a letter to Dorn. You can't breach this. Nya. To which Dorn, who we'll get to in a little bit, not in a great headspace, set himself to breach this. Guilliman's busy telling him, that's not a good idea. Don't do that. That's a terrible idea. Doesn't matter. Dorn goes to try and breach it, and it's so bad. It
does not go well.
No Imperial Fist fan likes this time period, because it's just a wash. It's such a loss.
And the Iron Warriors fans are eating.
So enough of them died there that their gene seed could be sacrificed to make Perturabo a demon. That is how many of Dorn's sons died there. Dorn, they would have ended right then and there if Guilliman didn't show up. It was bad for them. Perturabo wrote this well. Yeah. He did it perfectly.
He built the perfect fortress.
Oh yeah, of course. And it was fully unassailable. So yeah, not good for Dorn. He went off to become a demon, and frankly, we have not seen very much out of him after this.
I can't wait to come back to him, and he's like a weird machine mecha demon.
I really hope so, and I really hope with Vashtor 2 being added, we can get more of that. Mm-hmm. Because, I won't lie, he doesn't really fit in with the demon aesthetic very much, up until they added him. Now that Vashtor's in, I'm like, okay.
They can definitely get that, like, instead of God in the machine, demon in the machine look.
Exactly, and plus it gives the Dark Mechanicum something to do, man. Please.
What's Latin for demon? Because I know God in the machine is Deus Ex Machina, but
I don't speak Latin. Why are you looking at me?
Is it literally just Daemon Ex Machina?
Probably. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah,
the demon in the machine.
The demon in the machine.
Yes, plus it would give a lot of factions within Chaos stuff to do other than, how do we build this atrocity? The atrocity department did. How could I have forgotten? Because that's kind of what the Dark Mechanicum is reduced to in a lot of...
It's just the atrocity research and development.
Yeah, pretty much. Whenever something terrible comes out, they probably did it. It was all of them. So I do want more from Perturabo, but for now, honestly, other than stepping on the Imperial Fists, not much. Not much.
He had one goal and he accomplished it.
And he accomplished it stunningly. You can't even be mad at him for it.
Well, unless you're an Imperial Fist fan.
But like, man, it's the most Perturabo thing ever, though. Jagathai Khan, pretty simple. This was fine for him. The command structure is fully dissolved. Everything's kind of gone to hell. Well, I can at least handle this by myself. And so he just kind of went off to his home sector, which the Dark Eldar had seen as a ripe place to grab new victims. He wasn't looking. He was busy defending Earth. And this, what I will say is he was not pleased enough to swear every oath he could and fought them to this day.
I was wondering this entire time we've been running this channel, I've been wondering what's his beef with the Eldar? Where does this come from? This.
Mm-hmm. You got back to your yard and the Dark Eldar had been there.
Yep.
Yeah. A very good reason to hate them. He hated them so much, in fact, that he got wind of the guy who started these raids into his own space, fought his way into the webway, and is still there to this day. We don't know if he got him. We just know he's in there. And that's so funny. And again, you think overreaction, but then it's the Dark Eldar.
It's the Dark Eldar.
I think that's a just reaction.
To be fair, those are the Dark Eldar, and he's in the webway, which means he's also probably getting at not Dark Eldar.
I'd say he probably has, like, the Family Guy, like, card thing.
Yeah.
He probably has one. He whips out real quick, goes, nope, moving on. Like, I would suspect, like, he just, sure, nope, moving on. So, at, like, light speed, effectively.
So where is Jagathai Khan just screaming through the webway right now, shouting way too real slurs for elves at mock Jesus?
He's probably an Eldar phrenologist. Well, honestly, you don't need to be. Look for the ones wearing latex. It's not that hard.
Measure head, but for Eldar.
It's not that hard. Well, that's
your latex betrays your degeneracy.
That's certainly one interpretation of the con. I'm staying out of that. Yeah, just look for the ones who are dressed like it's an S&M. Yeah, no. You can spot the Dark Eldar very easily. All of them have very distinct styling, and they cannot be asked to wear clothing. Like, my goodness.
So you're not your latex, but you're nothing.
Next up is Leman Russ. He was shocked. He was in awe that Dad died, and then the Codex Astartes was dropped on him. He really didn't like that.
He was
triple mad about that, and
this isn't an organization. These are my brothers. What do you mean you're trying to break us up? That's like family to me.
And what? he really, really didn't like it. He was also one of those other people who... He was present for the heresy, but critically, a lot of it, some of the sons were divided from getting there in time, and he was, in fact, one of them. So you pair that feeling of, maybe I could have changed something with, now you want me separate from my sons?
He did not take this well.
He did not take this well.
This was like one emotional whiplash from one disappointment to another.
Yeah, and you want us, the Space Wolves, to behave the way Ultramarines do. That's just, it's incompatible with us. It is fully incompatible.
I will behave the way you do when you can behave the way I do. Now get a drink and get on the dance floor.
I mean, Guilliman did once. So that means Leman Russ's W2s do.
Do we have any description of how he danced?
Oh, I don't remember. It's been too long.
I assume it's stiff.
Probably. I assume he cut a mean robot. Just a devastating robot on the dance floor, Probably even doing, like, the power down move. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And that was, like, the most adventurous he's been for the last 10 millennia.
I think it's either the robot... Or that one, like, disco dance that everybody does when they're bad at dancing because...
The sprinkler?
Not the sprinkler. The, like...
Oh, yeah.
Finger... that. The one that everybody reverts to when they're like, I have no other moves.
Well, I don't think that one's possible in Primarch armor, frankly. Have you seen the shoulder pads alone? So, I highly doubt he whipped that maneuver. I could see a mean sprinkler.
You can see a mean sprinkler?
I could see a mean sprinkler, yeah. He would continue to follow it, though, just because, you don't really want to start another civil war right after this civil war. And he was a big part of the scouring, which is basically, get him, post-heresy. He would vanish after a good 200 years of kind of spitting in the eye of chaos, after holding a feast. It's all a great time, yada, yada, yada. Freezes perfectly in place. Has a vision, apparently. And just leaves with the best of the best that he has available.
Is this the last we know of him?
Yep. Only Bjorn was left. He was the only member of the Wolf Guard that stuck around. Well, that he left behind.
So, well, this is frightening. What did he see? Do we know?
Bjorn is the one who tells a story every 1,000 years.
He just stopped in the middle of a battle. Froze.
No, free in the middle of a feast.
Oh, in the middle of a feast.
Yeah. He was about to give a speech.
Well, this is worrying.
Well, he said he'd be back before the worst happened, but...
I'd say the worst has happened several times over.
Apparently not, because he's still not back. So... I will be fair, they do go out on hunts to try and find him, or at least follow in his footsteps. Mm-hmm. And these hunts...
Maybe send a messenger to let him know what's happening in the broader galaxy?
They try. These hunts have led them to doing a lot of good things. They've never found Russ, but they did find his armor in a temple of Horus, which moderately concerning. They did accidentally find a conspiracy to overthrow the Administratum, which they shut down. They found multiple gene stealer infested worlds that were just a problem. Thank goodness they found them. So these things do tend to work out. They just never work out in the grand victory that they want.
Mm-hmm. Which is, I assume, just finding Dad.
Yeah, exactly. He said he'll be back on the eve of the final battle of the Imperium versus Chaos, which, because it's Russ who said this, he called it the Wolf Time. Yeah. you know he'd have a Disney Plus show. Like, he's so wolf. Like, he commits to this bit so hard. He commits to this bit so hard, you know he'd have a Disney show. Need I explain more?
Nope.
Yeah. And and we are not at the wolf time yet, though we're looking close.
Yeah.
We're looking kind of close. The 13th Black Crusade did a lot of terrible things. They have a new company coming around, so like, this could be the wolf time.
Yeah. Or at least it's coming up soon. Which
Maybe.
I wonder, is this a hint at the end times?
God, I hope not. God, I hope not.
The end times, but better, we hope.
Just no.
No?
Just no.
No?
No.
No.
No. Though they keep adding Primarchs at a rate that's concerning, so maybe. Possibly.
Maybe.
Next up is Dorn and... if there's any Primarch who kind of... Let me finish this sentence. If there's any Primarch who deserves to blame themselves the most about how the heresy shook out, I think it's just got to be Dorn. I was going to say it's a tie between him and Sanguinius, but he left it all on the line. He died in the process, you know? Like, he could not have given more.
Dorn couldn't even say, like, I died to do what I needed to do.
And so while I'm not saying the heresy's shakeout was his fault, I can very easily see why he feels like it's all his fault. Because he's the master of defense. He's so good at this that the Emperor just gave him a blank check, effectively, and said, fortify Earth. They're coming. Big thumb. You know? That was it. That's all. And his defenses ultimately failed at the end of everything.
He feels bad.
On top of all of that, he's the guy who found the Emperor laid out and put him on the throne.
He feels really bad.
I think of all of the loyalists, he feels the worst. Mm-hmm. And I fully understand it. Like, if, not to say he could have, but if he played even a little bit better, it changes everything.
But also, like, it's that second guessing.
How much more could he have played, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, literally, what more could Dorn give? He gave everything. But you will always, in these things, you look at, what is it called? It's not survivorship, but survivor's guilt. Mm-hmm. That's a thing. Where a lot of the time you make it and you feel like you shouldn't have, especially when you look at the sheer chaos around you. Mm-hmm. I feel like the only way Dorn would have been happy post-heresy is if he died in the process.
Yeah.
Which he was working on. Mm-hmm. He felt abysmal. Then after all of this, the Codex Astartes is penned, which means split up your sons from you. And he takes this more personally than anyone else, honestly, because not only did I fail, but now I'm not fit to have my own legion. What
do you mean by this?
Just tell me to leap off a cliff at this point. What are we doing? And he actually gets enough support that there's a non-zero chance we got a second heresy here. It's close until he realizes,
what am I doing? I'm about to be the cause of a second civil war.
Yeah. And so he backs off a little bit and ultimately accepts it. But he still thinks that we need to do more. We need to atone for what we've done. So he consults his magic pain glove, which leads him to that conclusion. And then he leaves it and goes, well, the whole legion needs to go through the magic pain glove. So off to Perturabo's challenge we go. Yep. I mean, think about it. Iron sharpens iron.
Sure.
So why not go to the iron cage
One of these
to get
guys
sharpened?
aren't iron? The Iron Warriors are iron, but these guys are fists. I would like to see you punch a sword and see what happens.
That is his exact plan, actually. And it goes about as well as punching a sword.
Punching a sword would go.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's really not good for Dorn. Mm-hmm. However, I will be fair. Those who survived, they're the best of the best. If you survived the iron cage, you are competent.
You definitely separated the wheat from the chaff in this.
I'd say you got a lot of wheat in the process, too. I won't lie. This wasn't an effective way of doing this. But it did lead to... I'm not going to lie. Dorn's sons today, kind of doing great. Yeah. There's not a successor chapter I think is amiss. All of them are gas. All of them I like. So maybe it did work out.
They had a whole winter arc, I guess.
Dude, this is a lot worse than any winter arc. This is a lot
This is a year arc.
Yeah.
This is a decade arc.
It's like joining the Turkish special forces to get fit. Like, sure.
What do you have against the Turkish special forces?
Sure, it's going to get you fit, man, but is that the route we need to go? Is that the best way to skin this cat? Can't we just, put 2 45s on each side? Please? Yeah.
Sometimes your boy needs to atone.
Yeah, well, he certainly did
While
atone.
toning.
He would ultimately vanish after or during the first Black Crusade, where he boarded a Chaos flagship with a lot of his brothers, and no one lived to tell the tale.
The only thing that was left was a fist.
Yep, his severed hand was the only thing that was found, which kind of tracks with what Curze's vision saw of him surrounded, ripped apart by heretics, which, tracks. I do like your theory, though.
Where he just saw the death of the hand.
Yeah, he saw the hand's fate.
I'd like to know where Curze's vision ended when he shook Dorn's hand.
Well, also, Curze always saw the worst possible future. So we don't really know.
It'd be very funny. Listen. If I was a writer at G-Dub, I would see the perfect opportunity for and Curze's vision ended when his hand was chopped off. That's cut to black, smoky fade to black. That's where that ends. And then Dorn comes out of nowhere and is just the one-armed swordsman.
That'd be so cool. Well, chain swordsman. Because he had that massive, basically conveyor belts.
This is even better, because now he becomes a berserk reference, because he's got the huge conveyor belt of teeth that he wields one-handed.
Mm-hmm. It's so good. I want Dorn back. I want Dorn back badly. Speaking of the pessimist, Curze. His is... He deserves it. But also, it's a very Curze way to go out, He didn't join to serve Chaos. He didn't really join to sign up.
He joined because he was a goblin.
Yeah, he was like, you want me to sow fear and terror in the Imperium? Sure, dude, why not?
I'd literally do that for a living.
Yeah. So he really didn't care what happened post-heresy. He went home, blew up his own planet, and when they were like, hey, whoa, why'd you do that? Where are we supposed to recruit from? He's like, that's the point. I don't care. I don't care. I will die at some point. I have already seen it, and everyone will come out the woodwork and say that they're the ones who are to lead this legion. They're the ones to lead this legion. It doesn't matter. I don't care. I hate all of you.
This is like if Batman and Joker fused into one person.
Mm-hmm. He left
Batman's tactics for stopping crime with the Joker's mentality and code of ethics.
Yep.
And by code of ethics, I mean lack thereof.
Curze left nothing for his sons. He didn't leave a second in command. He didn't leave any command structure functional. He purposefully left as big of a vacuum as he could. The only thing he taught them is, this is how you skin somebody. Bye-bye. That was it. And when the assassin invariably made it to him, which, by the way, he knew about them the entire time, he didn't stop them, even though he could have. This is a mortal assassin against the Primarch. But do you want to know why he didn't?
I saw it in a vision. This is how it's supposed to be.
Death is nothing compared to vindication. If he prevented his own death, then that means he may have been able to prevent any number of the horrible visions that he saw. And so to him,
I'd rather be dead than incorrect.
I'd rather be dead than wrong. I'd rather be dead than wrong. And based behavior.
Based beyond belief.
I would sooner chew on a 50 cal than be wrong. Think about that. That is so, and this is a Primarch. He had a face room. For those of you that don't know about Curze's face room, imagine if you had a living room with a circulatory system. Enough said. Yeah, he could have prevented this. He could have stopped it. But if he stopped this, then any number of terrible things that he saw, he could have just prevented. There were other options. That one kid who maybe could have been his right-hand man and been a fantastic addition to him and pushed him towards the light. Nope. I flayed him on purpose. I should have. That was the best possible outcome.
My vision said it, and it was so.
That single mom I put through a wall sucks. She shouldn't have shoplifted. That's not on me. He's so awful. But, it wraps all the way around to, you just gotta love him. For most of the heresy, he wasn't really helping anyone, but making the lion's hairline go further and further and further back. He's a good chunk of why the lion looks the way he does right now. He's got a mean widow's peak. Almost all of that's got to be Curze. It's so funny.
He's got so much, his corners have receded to the back of his head, and I assume just Curze.
Just Curze. You have to understand the genuine level of stress that he can put in almost any of his brothers' minds just by learning he's in your house. Guilliman finding out he's on Oh,
He's in your walls.
oh,
Curze is in your walls.
Yeah, so-
The most frightening threat you can receive.
yep. So death is nothing compared to vindication. Get it over with, and that's how he ended. And after that, the Night Lords went exactly how he predicted. They shattered. They splintered. They're doing everything he saw coming.
I'd rather be dead than wrong.
Just standing on business. How can you be mad at that? Can you imagine that? Curze is so utterly absurd. You can't help but hate him. I mean, love him. Can't help but love him.
It's so wacky. It's so wacky.
Also, he has great art. He has great art.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love the one. It's probably like up right now of him like standing Batman style on like a gargoyle on the corner of a building, claws in the air, just like smiling.
I actually like the uncharacteristically thin portrait of him on the throne.
One sitting on the throne, yeah.
Yeah, and
I
Nostromo.
assume that's the one right before he's being assassinated. That's a vision I've always
Nostromo's
had.
gone at this point.
Ah.
He went home and blew it up.
Yes. So never mind. I guess my vision is shattered for that piece of art.
It's not accurate because every Primarch's huge, but if there ever was going to be a thin one, it's going to be.
It's going to be Curze.
All right, let's move on to.
He's pretty gaunt in the like.
Gaunt by Primarch standards. He's still got to have a rib cage. You can't. Dude, he's huge.
He does still have abs. You could play like a marimba.
Yeah. Yeah, every Primarch got that. Next up is Sanguinius, and Sanguinius is super dead. You know what he did after during this age?
He was dead.
Nothing.
He was
Nothing. He was a great accessory to one of my favorite 40k pieces of art.
Wait, really?
Yeah, the one of
Oh yeah, the one.
the one with the one ugly shot of Sanguinius. You know the one. Unfortunately, yeah, he really kind of did not do very much, which kind of made his Legion really take this blow even harder.
Yeah.
Because we can't even mourn Dad now. We just got to split up. Mm-hmm. But
cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Really, really rough. They all split up. Oh, also, this is right after they got the Black Rage and all that. So
I assume that was going haywire after this for a little bit.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah.
It's really bad. But unfortunately, Sanguinius, not very much. Same thing with Ferrus Manus. Lost his head. Enough said. Blew his dome.
I mean, maybe his head is in a jar, Futurama Nixon style somewhere.
That would be fun.
That'd be funny.
But no. And his Legion went whole hog into the replacing bits of machinery.
Why not? This is my personal letter to any of the writers contracted under GW right now.
If anything,
please
bring him back with
please. Ferrus Manus head in a jar.
Or some form of loads and loads of necrodermis. That could work too.
Yeah, you can do both.
So his Legion kind of... This isn't his exact vision because he didn't want them all to be the weird techno-marines, but like... Dad's gone, and he did have metal arms.
And there's nobody to stop me replacing my legs with better legs that have razor blades in them that I can kick your head off.
They actually become dreadnoughts.
Even better.
Yeah. So they're off doing that for a lot of this time. Next up is, and then we have Angron. Can you guess what he's doing?
Screaming.
Yeah.
Raging.
Yeah.
More raging.
He went right back to the Eye of Terror, as did every other demon Primarch, and he didn't really go grab a world all his own to shape in his own image. No, he just went on a 10,000-year rampage.
That'd do it.
He has been making it flow since inception. Cord loves him. He loves him. The piles of skulls in that room have only gotten taller thanks to Angron.
Korn has the best follower he could ever ask for.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's just getting milk for the cornflakes. That's it. That is all he does. Full stop. And he has been a menace to the Imperium ever since. He keeps being revived by Korn every single time, and he just shows up and does the same thing over and over and over. And I'm going to be honest, for the last 10,000 years, the Imperium really didn't have an answer for it because something would show up so horrific, we have to then fight it and then redact it. And everyone who saw it has to die. That's just been their ethos. We don't have a Primarch to fight this. We can't even acknowledge it's real.
We just have to deal with it and then...
It's a Souls boss that keeps showing up.
Kill everything that saw us deal with it.
Yep, just rogue nameless king running around. Not good for your average Joe. Guardsmen hate this simple trick. Yeah, and he never shows up alone, by the way. There are bloodthirsters that surround him. There are other... Now, they can't keep up with him, but they still try.
They try.
And honestly, they're not kind of going in any direction other than where there are people. So...
Just get the most death happening right now.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Very simple. Very simple.
I would like to retract... Not retract my statement. I said Khorne has the best follower any of them could ever ask for. Tzeentch, I'd assume, is very happy having the playthings he can toy with, who are like constantly thinking they have a one-up on him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Tzeentch is also eating with his situation.
We'll get to them later. Next up is Guilliman, and we know what he's up to now. Stressing. What he was doing after that? Stressing. That's all Guilliman does. He
growing gray hairs.
Yeah, he made it back to Terra to discover that we lost.
He wasn't on Terra when this happened.
Yes. Now, to be fair, because it's Guilliman, the moment warp storms cut him off from the rest of the Imperium, he assumed the Emperor's dead.
Yeah, he started the whole Imperium Secundus thing, which...
So he was kind of emotionally
prepared for this. That's not on the nose. It's like right through it. It's like one up one nostril and
consistent
out the other.
Branding. It's easy for everyone to understand. What is it? The Second Imperium. Next question. Branding's the last thing on my mind right now. I just want a functional thing that can fight Horus. So he was kind of emotionally pretty ready for this because he already kind of started preparing for it. He gets there and the Imperium is fractured and nobody can lead it. So he holds a one-person election where he votes himself into office because he is the best person to lead, as he says to himself, and himself agrees. So that's how we got Guilliman for president. And
I've interviewed myself for the job and deemed myself qualified.
The best candidate available. From there, he goes to build a bunch of the systems that we have in place right now, bloated and ineffective though they may be, the Ultramarine Special. And he also penned the Codex Astartes, which is, I solved war. Now copy my notes. Which, as you can imagine, really...
Sun Tzu lied. It wasn't an art. It was actually a mathematical formula. Follow it.
Again, Alpharius got it right when he said the rub with Guilliman is he thinks he can solve war and write it down while he does it. Yeah. Nobody liked it.
It's not an art. It's a formula.
Yeah. Here it is.
It's like y equals mx plus b.
Yeah.
Literally follow it.
Unfortunately, while his gift is writing, it is not fighting. And he went off and fought Fulgrim and yeah. Did not go very well for him. He was interred in stasis up until pretty recently when he was melted out. But in that time period beforehand, that's pretty much all he did.
He
governance. A lot of governance.
I was going to say, some of those the solutions that he used to fix the Imperium were probably Band-Aid solutions, and he would probably have iterated on them if he had not died, and maybe the Imperium wouldn't be in as such a state as it is now.
Yeah, which is why he freaked out when he said, "You followed the book to the letter." It was a framework. You all can think, right?
It was like the Constitution. You were supposed to amend it.
Yeah. And so he got real miffed about that. And the fact that everyone forgot he can crack a mean dad joke. So, but other than that, Guilliman did what Guilliman does. Like, just rule. That's pretty much it. He just governed. It's so not hot. But, like, that's kind of all he's good for. Well, he's also decent in combat. It's not as good as the rest of his brothers.
And as we have discussed ad infinitum, he can cut a mean rug.
I'm telling you, he can drop the meanest robot. Next up is Mortarion, and he got stinky. He got awful. He was made a demon prince by Nurgle. He took he took his own world and named it the Plague Planet.
Wonder what that does.
And it is shaped entirely like his childhood home because all of them have daddy issues. And he put himself at the tippy top where his old father used to be.
No, because
Guilliman had a healthy mother and father, and look how he turned out. Yeah. Just fine.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he goes to sports clips, but that's it.
He's not even balding.
Well, he does go to sports clips, so let's not compliment his hair too much.
I'm not complimenting his hair. I'm complimenting his grip on youth, despite him having to govern the bloated empire.
True, I will give you that. Yeah, and so he totally became everything he hated. He became a massive hypocrite, and his legion split in two. One being very loyal to him, another being loyal to a fellow named Typhus the Traveler, who is just a how to describe Typhus? I'll let you describe him.
a wandering pox that will give anyone trypophobia, no matter if you have it or not.
A living nest. He's become a living nest. Nurgle loves him. Nobody else does. It's gross. He buzzes passively. It's terrible. And from there, he's just kind of been... Molding. Festering even. Yeah, he left to go slay the Supreme Grand Master of the Grey Knights, which...
I wonder how that went for him.
I mean, Drago carved his name into his heart, so not great. In a move that almost nobody likes, but that's a thing. Mortarion canonically has a Grey Knight's tramp stamp on his heart. That's a real fact.
Drago was here.
Yeah, Drago was here. Carved into Mortarion's heart. Possibly the weakest any Primarch has ever been. Possibly. Or the strongest.
But just a normal space marine.
And well, Grey Knight's so far from normal.
That's why I said normal.
Yeah. Next up is Magnus, and he just kept speedrunning the road to hell with all the best intentions. That's it. In the wake of the heresy, he realized, man, I'm on the wrong side of history.
Why did I do that?
Yeah. And in true Magnus fashion, he didn't learn a thing. He didn't learn. Now, we'll be fair. You can't apologize at this point. It's too late.
You either turn yourself in and you accept your probably execution. Prison time is not a no-go for the traitors.
Yeah.
And die.
So he'd been through it a lot. We're not going to cover everything Magnus did because we have a whole episode on that, and it's very good, and you should watch it. I'm very proud of that.
And also, he's a follower of Tzeentch, so I assume we would be here forever.
Yeah, but
follower, I feel like Peon is more plaything, doll.
He's the only Primarch who's broken into shards, man. God, only Tzeentch knows, and even Tzeentch might not know. And so, well, actually,
I mean, Tzeentch saw him as a minifigure and started taking his bits apart and then, like putting them back together.
No, Magnus is sharded, and each shard did something different during this time period. I was just going to talk about them. Ooh, that's moderately problematic.
What?
Because Magnus has very distinct and different shards, and each one kind of did a different thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
We actually can't describe everything he's done in this video.
No.
This is a Tzeentchian plot.
No, well, we can. There's the big one, the Crimson King, which is... It's the biggest shard of Magnus. It's the one we all know. It's the one that has a model. It is basically Magnus Prime. It is most of his power. But also all of his worst bits.
Yeah.
This is all of his worst
So he's still
bits.
a villain, effectively.
Yeah, pretty much. He is cruel, he is vindictive, and his whole life's goal is just dunk it on the Space Wolves, baby.
Because...
It's so good.
Yeah.
It did burn Prospero and lead to kind of indirectly his shattering. So,
yeah. So
he's traded a lot of himself to Tzeentch at this point. I'm not going to lie.
It's no surprise that his most powerful shard also harbors the most hate for the people who did this to him, kind of.
Big hater. Massive hater. He's awful. He hates them so much. Next up is the Shard of Prospero, and this is his indecision. It was found by the Khan after the burning of Prospero during the heresy, which...
The Khan found the shard of his indecision? That must have irritated him the most.
Funnily enough, it tried to make the Khan make a decision.
Wait, really? I would have expected that shard of Magnus to be like waffling and ho-humming about any sort of situation, and the Khan just sitting there, leg bouncing like at 200 miles per hour, just going, make a decision.
We gotta remember, the Khan was one of the ones where his sons went to... He could have gone traitor. You gotta remember, the man hates...
Oh, he's chill.
The man hates despots. And what is the emperor from someone else's perspective? Like, there's a very valid argument for the White Scars that turned traitor, who said this is what Dad would want. Yeah, kinda. I won't lie. There's a very valid argument for that. So you can see why the Khan was...
He's not going to force a decision. He's not going to try and rush him. He's just like, yeah, this is an ethical quandary. You would be crazy if you weren't having this level of indecision in your heart.
Yeah, it's real rough. And so it tries to get the Khan to decide, and the Khan does pick a side, staying loyal, and destroys that shard. It is gone. There's a shard of Cadmus, which is... It's deep on Earth.
Somewhere?
No. God, this is the most Zinchian section. I'm going to be throwing as many I just have to. Ahriman had to go back to the past to reclaim it, and it's come to help the salamanders who are transporting Vulcan's remains during the heresy. Yeah. There's a shard of Nicaea, which is this is. I feel so betrayed. Come on. This is from the council. This is when psychers were banned, and like Magnus is nothing if not a psycher. This
is the shard of Magnus that is perpetually like reciting an entire legal defense for his own existence.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And there's so many shards of Magnus, and some of them are so okay. No,
I mean, have you ever seen a glass plane fall on the ground and break?
I think the last one we're going to cover is.
Like to count all of the if he was shattered, that's what happens when something shatters. Like you have the big chunks of it maybe that you can pull out of the wreckage, but they're the tiny dots of glass, like particles of glass that are somewhere.
There's also the noble shard of him, which is complicated and technically was yanked out of him when he burst into the throne room trying to warn Dad about everything going on. Are we going to cover that? Are we going to cover what that shard did?
Was he, for lack of a better term, sharding this entire,
No, that before? One was, that's a Malkador special. That is only he could have done this kind of special. Yeah, that was, that's technically the first chunk of him that broke off.
Malkador ripped a section of him out?
Yeah. The rest of them shattered during the backbreaker, don't get me wrong, but this is the first one.
Malkador is weirdly powerful.
Oh, he's not weirdly powerful. He made Horus kneel.
Yeah, I remember that.
He's very powerful.
He's where did that come from?
We covered it in the episode.
No, we didn't. We didn't talk about his origins. We just talked about what he does.
Exactly. Next question. We covered it during that lecture. The noble shard of Magnus. Do I want to? No. We're gonna cover Magnus's sharding at some point in Janus and that whole, because that is listen. I have nothing against proper nouns, but if I'm only gonna mention it the one time, and it's not necessary to the overarching plot here, it's just gonna get tabled. We're just gonna put it away. Magnus's shards will be their own episode for sure.
Going down from 1 to 1 million.
There's a lot of them, and some of them are like, as with all things in 40k, some things are a single sentence that's weirdly important, and then others are whole walls, like the Crimson King, which is a collection of his shards and has done a lot, mostly against the Space Wolves. But for the most part, Magnus, post-heresy, spent a lot of time trying to glue himself together. Yeah. Some shards trying desperately not to glue themselves together.
I'd assume the Crimson King doesn't want his empathy back.
He wants all of them back, because that's Maximum Magnus. You got to remember, Maximum Magnus is a lot. Maximagnus, if you will.
But then the ethical quandary might come back.
Maybe, possibly. But at this point, the Crimson King's been in it for so long, would it?
Fair enough.
Like, you gotta remember, Magnus is a lot of things. He's also arrogant.
Yeah.
So he thinks he's got this.
Yeah, it wouldn't be out of the ordinary for the Crimson King's ethos to be the dominant one.
Exactly. Horus died.
Horus became 2 boots on the ground with charred bones and some soot around them.
And some smoke pouring out. Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what happened to him. It is rough. It's bad. Horus died so hard they may as well have left the next page of the book blank.
Until very recently.
Maybe.
I
still need to read that one. But yeah, he's very dead. He does have... One of his sons did take the mantle, Abaddon, and did reforge his legion.
Abaddon
Spoiler.
That's got the T tray on it. I don't think qualifies as a spoiler.
No, that's a spoiler.
That's a spoiler? The T tray?
And it's also, not to get pedantic, but Turbos came with the whale tail, not the T tray. Anyway.
Is that what that is?
Yeah,
it's a Lego approximation, and I'm not...
it's a turbo. Yeah.
Okay.
They couldn't. That's irrelevant. That's my other fixation. We're not gonna. I think they came with whale tails. Gosh, somebody's gonna correct me on that if I'm wrong. Anyway, there was a clone of Horus that existed for 5 minutes. It missed the special sauce that makes Horus who he is, and it was killed off by Abaddon, who then went on to have 13 Black Crusades to his name, all of which are fantastic, for Chaos. Not so much for everyone else. The Sons of Horus did do what every Chaos Legion did at the time and just run away right after the heresy. Them, they kind of double timed it because they really didn't have anybody. There was not much of a...
Wait, Horus? Oh God, this is the bad ending. We were supposed to win. Oh no.
Yep.
I gotta get out of here.
Yep. They grabbed Horus's body and just booked it. They preserved his body in stasis because Space Marines do a lot. They're always very hopeful for their fathers. They will always do the most they can. There's this whole massive Legion war that happens because it's chaos. Chaos is it's inherently
chaotic.
Self-destructive and chaotic. So there's massive Legion wars among all of them that break out, and this leads to chaos. It's in the name.
It's chaos.
They're all constantly going against each other because their gods are always constantly going against each other. And especially Horus's kids, because they don't really have anyone in charge other than the corpse of dad in the background. So Abaddon sees all of this going on and just washes his hands of the situation. He goes off. He does his own thing for a little bit. The entire time, this legion is the master of assault. They're not good at defending. And they've kind of shut down and are only really focused on worshipping dad and trying to bring him back, not really their strength, which is assault, which miffs Abaddon when he gets back. And at this point, the Emperor's children, of all people, manage to beat them, break in, and steal dad's body. So he finds a broken legion.
They are not happy about this.
Yeah. So they join up with him. A lot of stuff happens. We covered some of this in Abaddon's episode, and he forms the beginnings of what would be the Black Legion. They storm the castle, get dad's body back, or at least try to, before they realize the Emperor's children are cloning Primarchs. And that's horrifying. We've not covered this at all because it's a bile episode at some point, but there were vats of deformed things, each an approximation of the 20 Primarchs.
So it wasn't just the Fulgrim one?
Nope, he was trying this for a minute. The Horus one does manage to escape. Abaddon kills it with Horus's own talons, saying that I am not your son anymore, and we have a pretty good moment overall. And that's the birth of the Abaddon we know and hate today.
Mm-hmm.
Next up is Lorgar. Preaching. He's preaching.
He's in a megachurch. He's doing whole routine. He's got people on wires flying around the building. He's flying around the building. There's a floating piano, or 12 of them around the stage.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. He actually, fun fact, tried to stage a coup during the heresy.
Against Horus?
He's got a very valid point here. Whenever he prays, he always gets an answer. He always gets an answer. So, he did make a very compelling argument. It did fail, however, because this is Horus.
It's Horus he's
in
dealing
his
with.
prime.
Obviously, he's going to lose.
However, obviously Horus did lose. Everyone ran off into the Eye of Terror. He got his own world off to himself, and he became a demon prince of chaos undivided.
And he's still preaching, just to demons.
Yeah, dude, he was so happy with this, it echoed through the Imperium.
What do you mean by this?
His prayers had been answered. He became a demon. He's immortal now. You got to remember, this isn't a demon prince of Khorne. This isn't a demon prince of Tzeentch or Slaanesh.
This is a demon prince
Nurgle.
of Yes.
This is a demon prince of Chaos Undivided. They don't do that anymore. They don't sign blank checks like that as a collective.
Huh.
Yeah.
Huh. And he didn't go mad like Horus either.
Nope. Well, he did kind of hold himself up in a temple and say, "Don't interrupt my meditation."
Well, I wouldn't call that madness. I just call that meditation.
Well, he's been gone so long, his own legion is kind of fragmented.
You can remain sane while still being an absentee father. It's not the best decision.
Now, here's the thing about that. His sons think he's meditating and have split off into two separate things, kind of doing their own thing. However, it's very convenient that he hid himself in an unassailable tower when Corax dunked himself into the warp to try and find him. Very, very convenient, and we'll get to him in a moment. These are totally unrelated, I promise.
You're telling me that...
we'll get to that.
You're telling me Lorgar had no insider trading information about this?
None whatsoever.
None.
None. He just wanted to meditate for the last 10,000 years. That's it.
Yup.
Next up is Vulcan, and he didn't like his family being split up when the whole Codex Astartes was written. Not a big fan.
Makes sense.
Not happy about
He
that.
seems to be the most like human, familial oriented one of the bunch of them.
Yeah, he did also. There was the whole being tortured by Curze for everything.
That'd do a number on you.
His grip on sanity is not great.
It's loosening.
Yeah, it's very loose. He don't really do very much in this time period other than showing up for the War of the Beast, fighting the Beast one-on-one, and falling into a generator with the Beast, killing it.
And disappearing?
Mm-hmm. And leaving together basically an Infinity War style, like, find these things and unite them and I will come back kind of a situation. But that's kind of all he did. To be fair, get tortured by Curze for most of it.
That'd do a number on you.
Yeah, like that's just...
Maybe he's just like, I don't know, sitting on a beach in Cabo somewhere.
Yeah. I'd hope... Well, we do know... Well, we don't know much, actually. We hope he comes back, is my simple answer. Next up is Corvus.
My current headcanon is he's currently got a flower print shirt on and he's sitting on a beach. With
Mai Tai?
I was going to say a pina colada, but a Mai Tai is probably better.
Yeah.
He seems more like a Mai Tai guy.
Yeah, I could see it. Because
The mint is a good contrast against the lava pits of his homeworld.
I don't know if he could even talk to anyone about this, because, like, just speaking about what Curze did might traumatize them. So, yeah, he's...
It's Curze.
Yeah, Corax is up next, and he... kind of not relevant for the last bit of the heresy, mostly because he was present at my favorite battle map.
Yeah.
Istvan 5.
He was currently recovering.
Yeah, big circle.
Big circle, and those are the scouts?
Yeah. Well, to be fair, the original reason they were there is because they were some of the 4 legions sent to stop Horus in his tracks. Or actually 7 legions. It was 7 legions and then 3 of them on
Some of them just decided,
4 of them on Trader, yeah.
Yeah.
Leading to the worst battle map
The
ever.
worst battle map. The YouTube thumbnail.
Yeah, exactly. Corax, for the most part, actually starts during that horrific battle map. This would become his hobby later on, but when the tides turn on him and he realizes he's been betrayed, he flips out and takes it out on Lorgar. A very reasonable approach.
Very reasonable.
Beats him so bad, Curze has to intervene or else he's just going to die right then and there. Which, rough look, but this is a preacher against the guerrilla guy. Like, he's our guerrilla partisan fighter. What do you think would happen? He does manage to survive.
Guerrilla may be spelled GUE.
Yeah, but it
may as well be GOR.
Yeah, it's really bad. After this, he leaves to try and rebuild his legion. Discovered the Alpha Legion poisoned a bunch of his stock, leading to horrific mutations left, right, and center. And he comes to this realization throughout the heresy that we shouldn't exist. There's something fundamentally wrong with being a Primarch. There's something fundamentally unnatural and otherworldly about us. And as much as I'd like to think the Emperor is the governing force in my life, something greater is causing all of this. He basically figures out the chaos.
He figures out that, like, we're a bit chaotic and something's not right about that.
You know that theory that, like, the Emperor bargained and got something from chaos to create these super powerful kids?
He figured it out. Whatever it was, he figured
this
it
is strong evidence for it, and his
Yeah.
conclusion is our darkness, our very existence must be purged. And so you pair that realization with his sons mutating horrifically, and he slaughters all of them, locks himself in a tower to atone for a little bit. Not all of his sons, just the mutated ones. Locks himself in a tower. I can see how you got confused. Locked himself in a tower for a little bit to atone for it, and his last words ever said were nevermore before just leaving.
Edgy.
It's an Edgar Allan Poe thing.
Edgy.
Of course it is.
Yeah, edgy. What do you mean?
Nobody in the Imperium or his sons know where he went, but we do.
Where did he go?
Straight into the Eye of Terror. Straight into the Eye of Terror, and he has sworn to become the Emperor's justice. That is it. That is all.
I assume he's just... I've seen the jokes about him targeting Lorgar. I assume this is revenge for whatever... what's the one word bearer's name?
Which one?
The bad one.
Erebus. Dude. It's less of an Erebus thing and more of just general payback. The first time we see him is when a word bearer is grading this massive effigy to Lorgar and the dark gods, and a shadow rose up and tore every heretic asunder. And this shadow kept spreading and spreading, and eventually even came for Lorgar. Well, it came for one of his apostles who ran into Lorgar's sanctum for help because something's coming.
So something has happened to him.
Yeah. Well, Lorgar came out burning with Chaos's power because this is Prime Lorgar, and it encountered a version of Corax that has changed.
I would love to see like a full core. What has happened to him? This is a mystery.
We have it described effectively, where it is the constant exposure stripped away Corax, and now we see what lies beneath the skin. He's described as a creature of blades and shadow that can turn into a flock of ravens. Yeah.
Edgy, cool.
He's the closest we have to a loyalist demon Primarch. It's so cool, and it bodies Lorgar. So bad he runs back into the tower. So bad he runs right back into the tower. And I need you to know this.
Hold on, this is frightening because this is Prime Lorgar, and he.
Yeah, and the entire time for the next 10,000 years, he has Lorgar sent and spends millennia circling that tower, waiting for Lorgar to just leave so he can strike. It's so fun.
Lorgar really better start praying if he ever needs
been praying.
to be there.
He's been praying. And everyone's like, oh yeah, Lorgar's meditating. Meanwhile, the flock of crows outside. He's just meditating. Don't worry about that. Don't go near the tower. Don't go near the tower. Stop asking questions. Stop asking questions. Yeah. There's a lot of very cool fan art, but nothing official yet. And we do know Lorgar nowadays is up and moving. So
maybe he's
maybe Corax is on the way back.
Yeah.
That would free.
That'd be cool.
I
think it'd be very cool to see a
loyalist
loyalist demon Primarch.
Be very fun.
A loyalist who's figured out the quiet part and is now saying it out loud, but
yeah,
he's not bad.
And then next up is Alpharius and Omegon, who are perfectly fine and or dead. That wraps it up for all the Primarchs. What do you think?
There has to be more.
No, that's all you need to know.
There has to be more.
Nope.
Nothing?
Nope.
Nothing on Alpharius.
It'll happen during their episode, or it won't.
And or Omegon?
Or it won't. Or it will.
You're gonna break my brain when we do that episode inevitably.
Will I?
Yeah.
Won't I?
Yeah.
No. We'll have to see. What would you think?
Some of these I was kind of clued in because we've done a couple videos on them, but like, it's very fun to see like coherently all together their different like lines and where they went after. I can't wait for them to have the end times again and Leman Russ to just get ripped out of the vaults.
I don't know what they're going to do with the end times, nor do I want it. I'm very happy with the way things are.
But it'd be very cool if something big, dramatic, and climactic happened.
No, I don't need it to have an MCU moment. I just need to keep having my toy soldiers show up.
Well, they keep they keep angling for it. It seems like.
Yeah, but they won't do it.
Considering their ally ships happening between the Imperium and the Eldar, though not strong, just
enough,
kind of.
Enough.
Who knows?
Maybe.
The next step is the Imperium realizing how much the Necrons are trying to do to the Tyranids, and
they've already figured that out.
Yeah,
they're working on that.
Going, we have a common enemy.
I don't like talking about that.
You don't? No.
I hate the potential of a 40K because it's too. Nobody can write it well. They have great writers. Nobody could.
It would literally require all of the writers coming together to write Infinity War, but 40K this time.
And I don't think the setting needs that, honestly. I think the pendulum just needs to keep swinging in other people's favor, you know? Maybe we have it be an Eldar problem for a while, then a Tyranid problem for a while, you know? Just keep the pendulum of pain swinging always, and no one's ever happy. That's what 40K needs.
Yeah.
It doesn't need a grand
Honestly,
climax.
it's more in its ethos anyway.
Yeah.
It wants to be horrible all the time.
Yeah.
Like, this is the bad
Somebody
ending.
not humanity needs to be winning at all times.
Yeah. This is the bad ending at all times. You cannot have like everybody like realizing shit, we have like a one enemy that we could just join up and end for once and for all.
Exactly. But that does bring an end to this episode. We have two options left, and it is the Age of Apostasy and the Age of the Dark Imperium. So sound off in the comments. Winner gets made, loser vanishes. That's it.
And not forever. We do have a losers bracket.
Maybe, yeah. As always, thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for being you.